Hello.
Hello, do you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Professor.
I was having problem with hold on. Let me see. How I cannot increase the screen. A second, hold on. Okay. Okay, listen. Hold on a second. Okay. Hold on. Let me. Okay, listen. I'm sorry about that. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Today we are going to discuss the reading from Gonzalez, special refugees, and special refugees. No. Wait. That's not that. That's not it. Hold on a second. Okay, who has the questionnaire there? Hello?
It's the questionnaire of the role of the church.
The role of the church. Yes, yes,
Hernandez and Gonzalez.
yes, that's the questionnaire. The role of the church. Let me see if I can find that here. Okay, good. We have the Hernandez, the Catholic Church, pages 45, 57. And Gonzalez, the role of the church, from 13 to 18. Okay, let's start. Before that, let me say something. The hold on a second. It's an mission. Okay. We're going to take 5 minutes, say 5 to 8 minutes, to talk about the film that we watched last time. And what you are going to do, I built a site where you can put your extra credits away from the on another place than that where you are going to put to submit your questionnaires. Okay, it's for some reason it's not. I found out today that it's not working. It's not working. It's not visible. But it has to be something simple to correct. Okay, I'm going to do that by tomorrow. You're gonna have separated the place to submit your the link to submit your questionnaires, and the those two where you're going to submit your extra credit. Hold on. And the reason why is that it's not only because it's easier for you, but also it is easier for me, because at the end the calculation is BB that is going to calculate I only can calculate the for example in an exam I would be able to I have to go over the exam and give you credits for the exam and so on. But that part of the exam that you have to write the short answer questions. By tomorrow, I'm going to have that finished, and you're going to have access to the exam. Okay. Are there any question about that?
I just have a quick question, like just a clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that this separate website is where we're going to submit all of our questionnaires in addition to the extra credit paper if we completed it?
Yeah, no. What I'm going to do, What I'm saying, if you're going to put the extra credit into one of the link, right?
Yes.
It's separated from the extra credit. Like you're going to put the extra credit, and later on, I'm going to build another one where you are going to put your paper.
What paper?
Okay.
Extra credit paper?
The final paper.
Oh, the final paper. Okay.
I'm going to build one for you to do that separately, to have they separate. Because if not, I have to do it by hand.
Yes, yes.
And it's take more time.
Yes.
If I put it just the questionnaire and the paper and the extra credit, the BB do the calculation, and it is faster. You get it faster.
Okay. And did you ever grade our Harvest of Empire extra credit paper that we submitted earlier this semester?
Yes, of course, I'm going to give you records grade for that. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the film? Did you? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I found the use of song to be funny and heartfelt at the same time. I found it to be it feels a little ridiculous. Not the content of the song, but that they keep on breaking into song to explain the exposition. It sort of felt like something out of a Monty Python routine. But anyway, it was I definitely learned a lot from it.
Okay, who else? Let me say something about that. The thing is that it's much larger, and I randomly were keeping skipping. How do you say skip? Right? Skip. So I skipped some of the randomly of the parts of some parts of the film, because it is too large. I mean, it lasts too long, and maybe that also I don't know, but was part of this what you're talking about. Well, who else?
Hi, Professor. This is Kira Velasquez.
Okay, Kira.
Hey. I found I found some parts very jarring. In terms of like the different things that they went through in terms of like civil unrest and like other acts towards the natives of Puerto Rico. It made me think of my own family, like, and just sort of like where like they fell within that history. Maybe like that was my aunt or like my cousin on the street during all that civil unrest. So it really like made me think about like, how far we've come.
Okay, were you saying that are you Puerto Rican or Puerto Rican origin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my family's from Vieques and Santurce.
Oh, okay. And you didn't know these things like before?
No, the only thing that I knew about was like the sterilization of the women, but I had no idea of like anything else that was going on in that extreme.
Okay. We're going to have a film about that, the sterilization of women.
Oh man.
At some point. Okay, who else?
Professor?
Yes.
I just want to say I found I was wondering who did the voice the voiceover narration for this piece, because usually when you hear people with a thick American accent and an old gruff male white voice, you expect them to be saying things that are a lot less liberal than what this guy was saying. I don't know if that's anything to stake anything on, but I just found it rather odd that who is this guy and why is he saying this rhetoric?
Okay. All right. Who else?
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
Hi, it's Stephanie Rivera. I found the film heartbreaking just to see how the U.S. exploited Puerto Rico and how they could just never get a break. I mean, they went from being controlled by Spain to then being controlled and abused by the U.S. And, you know, they thought that the U.S. would give them freedom, but they deceived them and used them for themselves, you know?
Okay. Who else?
Professor, this is George Galvez.
George Galvez. Go ahead.
Yes. In the film, I got to experience, how the sentiment from the Puerto Rican people, how they fought, they still fighting for their own democracy, and in a way, I could see better how they feel about being a part of the United States, and how the United States has influenced all these years, in the Puerto Rican territory, That's what I got from the film, most likely, that a better idea of what happened in those days,
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Who else?
Professor, this is Sabrina.
Sabrina. Go ahead.
Yeah, my take from the film, I was pretty taken aback by how, like, the extent of which the island was exploited by both Spain and the US, like Stephanie mentioned. And it was very very sad to see the violence against the people and what was happening. And I got like a better understanding of the struggles they had to endure because of like colonization, and then what happened with the US in their conflict too.
Okay.
Professor?
Yes. And
I was taken aback by the sheer amount of human waste that the Americans leveled on Puerto Rico. They were using it basically as an undignified garbage bag. I just found, maybe this says something about me, but I found the exploitation of the land to some degree more upsetting than the exploitation of the people. To treat nature's beauty with such disgusting indifference. I mean, these people had seen, even if you could give the benefit of the doubt to people who had never seen a native before, which you can't obviously, they had seen this land they had seen the beauty of nature in their country just as much as they've seen it in South America, and they still treated it with such utter callousness and disrespect for God's creations. I just found it disgusting.
okay. Okay. Anybody else?
This is Benjamin Burgos.
Benjamin. Go ahead.
Towards the beginning of the film, something that had really taken me aback, and it's kind of going off of what Sabrina and Stephanie had said. There was, I don't know if it was an interview, but I remember that this guy was saying how even though he's in the United States, he doesn't feel like, and he's Puerto Rican, he doesn't feel like he's a part of like the American dream, or like what United States said that they were going to do for Puerto Rico, how they thought that they were going to gain freedom after all these years and they didn't. And he just felt like because he doesn't have a suburban home, because he doesn't have job opportunities, and because he's not living the American dream, he doesn't even feel himself like qualified to be an American. And that's why I feel like most Puerto Ricans during that time just didn't feel like they were part of the nation because they weren't treated that way. They were treated with much disrespect.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, I respect everybody. Ideas, opinion. Okay. What we are going to do is, as I told you, you are going to write I think I said 1.5 page, right?
Yes.
And I will give you extra credit. Let me say about extra credit here, so we can be clear. For the films that we are going to show, for example, we're going to watch soon. I don't know when is it. It's on the syllabus. The film La Operación, the operation, which is about the sterilization of women in Puerto Rico, mass sterilization of women. And we're going to watch probably the Young Lords, film about the Young Lords, the Puerto Rican in the young people in the 1960s, 70s. Create a mass movement, as did the African Americans and young people in general, most young people. So we are going to those for those credits, extra credit for films amount to 2 points to your final your final grade. That is, if you have an 89 and you got 2, if you got an 89, that's a B plus. But let's see. But with the 2 points, it could be a minus. And if you have participate a lot, I will give you an A. You went from a B plus to an A. So that helps you a lot, right? I mean, that it helps. Then it's 2 points for that and 4 points for the, imagine if you have the questionnaires, right? It's going to increase significantly the final grade. Okay, are there any questions about that? Okay, let's get to the Catholic Church. If you don't hear me, let me know, okay? The Catholic Church. Who wants to do the first question, Role of the Church, the Catholic Church by Hernandez. Who wants to do the first question?
I can go, Professor.
Okay, go ahead.
What religions and philosophies developed in the Philippines and why? Taoism from Southeast Asia influenced societies to have a culture of peace, and the communities were self-regulating and not disposed to control on another because of the idea that people attune to positive conduct. They didn't need a centralized government.
Okay. Who else?
Professor, this is George Galvez.
George, go ahead.
They had another theory called Confucianism. It was a philosophy that was strong among Filipinos. This philosophy provided greater emphasis on practical wisdom, proper social relations, and conformity with a computing administration. Filipinos became influenced by this philosophy to develop a capacity to function as a sovereign nation with extensive internal diversity.
Okay.
In other words, they got a lot of structure from this kind of philosophy.
Okay. Who else? Okay, yes, the Philippines, because they came from a diversity from the eastern part of the country. They, the Asia, they took they developed a culture that was diverse, and that diversity touched religions. They were, of course, the Spaniards arrived to the Philippines, took the Philippines until 1898. It is the day when the Spanish-American War took place, and the only two colonies that Spain had in Latin America are Cuba and Puerto Rico. Those were the remaining colonies or part of the empire, of the Spaniard Empire. They have, by the 1820, 30, they have defeated those fighting for the independence from Spain. They have the people like the different leaders of the in Latin America in different regions have different names. They were fighting, each one of them, for their territory. This fight by the Spain was defeated in one after the other, and the only colonies that they have were Cuban and Puerto Rico at the time of the Spanish-American War. The Spanish-American War was a war between the Spain, of course, Spain and in the United States, and it was a war calculated. It took place because the explosion of the USS Maine or a ship that was in the in Cuban territory. They were shipped by the United States. The USS Maine is a military ship. And then there was an explosion in the United States said that it was a Spanish mine that caused that. And that's another thing that we are going to watch a film done by the Navy and by different universities, where they have proven without doubt that Spain has nothing to do there. That the Spanish were the Americans were doing that in order to take the territory of Cuba and Puerto Rico from Spain. And that's what happened. In the case of Puerto Rico, there was still is a colony today, a colony of the United States. And in the case of Cuba, acquired its independence at the beginning of the 20th century, but continue under the control of the United States. They formally they have a government and have their own dictators. All of them were dictators imposed in Cuba, and then until the revolution of 1959, Fidel Castro and then the United States and Cuba. In Cuba, established this, became enemies. But the thing here is that it was an expansionist reasons. They were expansionist the ideas that the United States used to lead to the war. But Spain was totally defeated. Now, I'm saying this because the Spaniards, you see the Filipinos. I don't know if there's any Filipino here. The Filipinos have a culture that speak language. They speak Spanish. They speak because many people came to the Philippines. Many different race, many different conquerors, those who conquest, right? People who have different culture, and one of those culture have to do with the religious, right? The religious which is it's not a religious like Confucianism, that is not properly speaking, it's not a religion, but it's a vision of the world with how can I put it? It is a vision, a manifest of the belief in nature, the belief in goodness, the belief in with that has some connection with some religions, but it's not a religion. Religion have to have a God, at least one. And sometime when there is one and not that many, more religious, more more religious are and for example, from some of the religions, priests, the priests, some priests who came to Christianize and Christianize the around the world, around the new world. These people who Christianize, they establish relationship with the Filipinos people who has a tradition similar at those of the Catholic Church in some cases. Right? For example, who have heard of the term compadre? What is a compadre?
Is it a compatriot, a comrade?
Compadre is used in the Dominican Republic. It's a ceremony that if you in a strategy of solidarity, right? If I'm going to baptize your children, and I'm becoming a godfather of your children, and if anything happened to you, then I have to take care of your children. Right? It is a strategy of solidarity, and that exists today. Probably we have people from Puerto Rico here, right? That have heard that term, the term compadre.
Yes.
Cuban, Dominican, and in that they brought that to the Philippines, the religious orders, right? They accept that the Philippines because they have similar expression in religious expression, people who in cultural expression, right? They develop, for example, the culture of taking care collectively of the children. Right? That was part of those Eastern culture, and it took place. Was brought by those people who continue going to the Philippines in order throughout the history, to live in the Philippines. So, is there any question about that? Okay. So the number Number 3, right? Number 3. Okay, who
I believe
wants
we're
to
on 2.
go ahead?
I think we're on 2, right? I'm not sure.
You think this is 2? Okay, what 2?
Number two, Professor.
Okay. I'm sorry. Who wants to do number 2?
I'll take a stab at it.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, sorry, I thought I had it open. I'll have to defer to someone else on this one.
Okay. Who else?
Oh, wait, I have it now.
Okay, good.
What are the main tenets of Confucianism?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, didn't we do that? Sorry. Practical wisdom, proper social relations, and conformity within a community's administration.
Okay. Who else? Who wrote something else about that?
Professor, this is George.
George, go ahead.
Yes, I wrote, Filipinos became influenced by this philosophy to develop a capacity to function as a sovereign nation with extensive internal diversity.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. Thank you. Who else? Anybody? Yes, I think that the main tenets of Confucianism, I'm not going to add nothing, you said it all. So let's move up. Number 3. Who wants to do number 3?
Professor, can I go?
Go ahead.
So number 3, why were Spanish missionaries able to convert the Philippines into Christianity? Spanish missionaries, they used forceful evangelization. They punished and put to death of the Indians for the refusal to convert. And practices such as compadrazgos, church as temples, priests, nuns, and rituals contributed to feelings of belonging.
Okay. Who else?
I can go, Professor.
Okay, go ahead.
To add to what Amy said, I said that due to the resistance to colonization by the Ming Dynasty, which drained the Philippines of gold, silver, and food, and imposed absolute control over all aspects of life, this distorted Filipinos' view of Confucianism, and they were able to find freedom in Catholicism, which made it easier for them to convert to it.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Let's see. Anthony Stuck. What do you say? Okay. Benjamin.
Yes.
Burgos. What do you write?
Okay. I wrote that the reason as to why the Spanish missionaries were able to convert the Philippines into Christianity is because of their extreme punishments. Like if they didn't convert, and sometimes they even put the Filipinos to death if they refused to convert.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Okay, let me say something. They were going to convert. There's not a question about that. But by force, I mean, many did that. But most religious movement in the Philippines, as I said before, they the missionaries were didn't have to do that, to kill anybody, to repress the Filipinos, because the Filipinos accepted, because they have institutions like the compadrazgo, very, very, very similar of what some missionaries orders wanted to do, and in not only in the Philippines, but in terms of we have discussed that in the case of North America and the natives, how these missionaries help them in many ways to develop certain, because you have to one thing is the in general, the church play a role in the killing and the repression, the genocide that they in general. Right? But there were people like the Dominicans and other orders, missionary orders, the Dominican, the Jesuits, that were not involved in the repression and who tried to save the life of like the life of the natives, right? And they didn't want to these people came in when they came to the New World, they have an idea or were influenced by the idea of the free and equality, freedom, the equality universal for everybody, including the natives. They were much influenced by the utopian movement that was taken in Europe at the time, right? And they believe that this utopian ideas were more easily developed by the natives, right? The natives than the Europeans that have killed people, that have committed genocide, that have take their resources, that have all these things, right? And this movement it was at the stake in Europe at the time. It was famous at the time, and they brought that, and it was easier for the Philippines to accept what they have, what they were saying, because they have several. They have aspects of their culture that were very similar to what these people were saying in terms of equality, in terms of they practice that. Okay, Who else? Anybody else? Okay, let's move on. Number 4.
Can I try, Professor George?
Go ahead.
He says, and number 4 says, how did the compadrazgo system make it easier for the conversion of Philippines?
Mhm.
And a row, because it practice appealed to people accustomed to strong family ties in the barangays, churches, reminded people of the temples that they had served as a focal point of community life. In other words, they became, like you said before, it was similar to what they were used to, the customs.
Mhm.
So it was easier for them to follow the compradasco.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Okay. Number 4. No.
Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. Who wants to do number 5? Hello,
May I? Sorry, was there someone else who wanted to do it?
Benjamin. Go ahead.
Katipunan, I do hope I'm saying that correctly. What was the Katipunan movement and what were its goals? Katipunan was a revolutionary movement based on the teachings of Jose Rizal. Their goals were political rights and equality for the Filipino people.
Okay. Who else?
Bro, this is George.
Go ahead, George.
I wrote their main goal was to confront Spanish colonization and to promote the Philippines' liberation from Spain.
Okay. Who else? Hello. Anybody? Bianca, what do you say? What do you write about that? Bianca. Elizabeth Maldonado. Okay. Yala Rivera. Question number 5. Okay. Kira Velasquez. What do you write? Kira. Okay. Benjamin.
Yes.
What do you say about question number 5?
Well, I already went. Oh, are you going to Benjamin Burgos?
Yes. What do you think? Did you go on that? Yes. Is it no? Oh yes. Okay. Let's move on to the other. The number 6. Who was Jose Rizal and what was his role in the Filipino liberation movement? I think we did that, right? Who wants to answer that? Who want to
I answer, Professor George.
go ahead?
He was the son of a wealthy plantation owner, and he studied medicine in Spain, France, and Germany. And he was a national writer who strongly criticized Spain colonization and became the inspiration for the Philippine liberation movement.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Let's do number 7. Who wants to do number 7?
I'll take a stab at it if you want. Sorry, I keep on
Okay.
using the term stab. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
How did the Philippines resist Spanish colonial rule? The Filipinos resisted the Spanish with around 100 isolated revolts over the course of 333 years, which I didn't catch why, but for some reason the Spanish began losing large portions of their colonies, and they started making changes to the way they ran things, reforms to try and win the approval of the Filipino islands, to so they wouldn't want to rebel.
Okay. Who else? Yes, I agree. The Philippines resist Spanish colonial rule with war. Right? With war, they wage a war that, and they have the Spaniards almost defeated. And when the United States defeated Spain, the Philippines came to be the United States military, went to the Philippines, and they say, we are not going to, they say they talk to the leaders of the countries, right? The leaders of the Filipinos. They say, the Americans, they say, we stop the war because Spain is almost defeated, has been defeated in Latin America. Just give up your arms. And they did. And thinking that they were going to rule in their country. And then when they did that, the United States took militarily the Philippines, and the Philippines became another colony of the United States. Another colony of the United States in the context of the Spanish-American War. And that lasted until the World War II, the 1940s, when after the war, the World War II, when the United States, through the United Nations, the United Nations organization, gave the independence, on quotation mark, gave their independence to the Filipinos. And I say quotation mark because even though the Philippines became a country formally free, in paper free, the United States continue anyway the domination of the Philippines. And then the reason was because it was situated in a place that is strategic for the United States. The two could have connected the two seas. Okay, that was the last question. Now there are 4 questions. Let's try to do this fast. Gonzalez, the role of the church, number 1. Who wants to do number 1? Gonzalez.
Professor, this is Kira. I'd like to do number 1.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so it's what are the main differences between English and Spaniards in regard to the role of their churches in the conquest? For the English, they were very much like methodical about it. In terms of their subjugation, they were very much like conquer, occupy, possess, and they viewed them as like heathens and infidels. And then the Spanish was more concerned about the lands and conversion from paganism to the Catholic religion.
Okay, who else? Hello.
I'll go for it.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one.
Yes, number one.
Well, the English wanted to conquer the land and subjugate its people, while the Spanish wanted to forcibly convert the people to Christianity as well.
Yes. Anybody else? Anybody who wants to add to that?
Yes, Professor George.
Okay, George.
The English usually isolated itself from the natives. The Spanish had like a more, they used to mix with the natives. I mean, the Spanish, yeah, they mixed with the natives, you know, and the English were like more segregated away from they avoided the natives to be among them, you know.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Okay, let's move to the next question. Number two. What was the view that English settlers had of natives? Who wants to answer that question? Hello?
I can answer it, Professor Stephanie. The English settlers did not recognize Indian humanity and did not try to convert them.
Okay. That's good. Who else?
This is Sabrina. I said that they, according to the text, they didn't try to bring the natives under their heel, and they mainly coexisted, except for purchasing and finagling parcels of land and pressuring others to move into the interior.
Okay. Who else? Hello? Kira, what do you say? Kira Velasquez?
So what was the view that English settlers had of the natives? I kind of touched on it with my last answer. They kind of viewed them as like heathens, and like infidels, sort of, didn't really think that they were
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Benjamin, what do you say?
Benjamin Burgos or Benjamin Stock? Which Benjamin are you referring to? There's two.
Burgos.
Okay, let's see.
Yes.
Number two, right? Sorry. I said that the English settlers did not see the natives as human, and for this reason, they did not attempt to convert them or really pay them any mind. They more so coexisted with one another. They didn't try to like influence the natives.
Okay. Good. Who else? Hello? The other Benjamin. Benjamin. Okay. Yara Rivera. Yara. Samuel. Okay. Okay. Shannon, Daron, what do you write? Bianca, what do you say? The question is what the view that English settlers had of natives.
Can I try, Professor? It's George.
Go ahead.
The monks, Spanish monks, they saw the natives as a simpler, less corrupted human beings who can be easily convinced to follow the word of Christ.
Okay, who else? Number 3. Okay. Number 4. What kind of knowledge did Spanish monks pass on to natives? Who wants to respond to that? Who wants to answer that question?
I can go, Professor. It's Stephanie.
Yes, go ahead.
The knowledge the missionaries passed on to the Indians were agriculture, language, customs, and technology, and they remained part of the Indian experience, which eventually became civilized tribes.
Okay. Who else? Hello? Anybody else?
Let me try, Professor. This is George.
Yeah, okay, George, I know you already.
The missionaries impart the knowledge such as weathering, agriculture, language, customs, and technology. All of these did not disappear when the Spanish monks departed. So they stay with the natives, they maintain those knowledge.
Okay. Who else? Anybody else? Yes, and also they were especially helpful in passing their agricultural technology to the natives. Of course, the natives already have their own technology in that region in north in part of the south, and they the missionaries contribute with that, with everything that you said, but also the agricultural production, agricultural technique. Okay, anybody else want to say something? So we are going to finish here tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday, we are going to. I'm going to make the possibly I'll do it tonight. If, to make the Spanish exam 1 to be for you to be to be able to see the exam. Right? The reason why I haven't done because the BB has correct all the questions except the short answer questions. I have to do that, and I'm going to do that either tomorrow or either today or tomorrow morning, and you'll be able to have access to the exam. Is there any question about that? Okay. So have a good night and keep yourself safe. Okay.
Good
Bye,
night,
Professor.
Professor. Good night.
Bye,
Good night.
Professor. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Professor, thank you.
Take care.